At watch night service, the woman standing where I always stand was wearing my church hat. Not a hat like mine. Not a similar hat. My hat. The one my grandmother wore for 40 years. The one my mother passed down to me. The one that held 3 generations of prayers and praise. And she was standing in my spot next to my husband, like she belonged there. But let me start from the beginning. Because this story isn't just about a hat. It's about legacy and betrayal. It's about what happens when the enemy doesn't just attack your marriage. He attacks your heritage, your history, everything you hold sacred. My name is Diane Carter Williams, and for 38 years, I've been a member of Mount Zion Baptist Church. I was dedicated there as a baby, baptized there at age 9, married there at 26. I've served in every ministry you can name. Sunday school teacher, usher board president, missionary society member, women's ministry leader. This church isn't just where I worship. It's woven into the fabric of who I am. My grandmother, Mother Evelyn Carter, was one of the founding members of Mount Zion back in 1965. She was there when they held services in a storefront, there when they bought their first building, there when they built the sanctuary we worship in now. She wore many hats in her life, but the one I'm talking about, the one that matters to this story, was her watch night service hat. Let me tell you about watch night service if you don't know. It's not just New Year's Eve at church. For Black churches, watch night has deep historical and spiritual significance. It goes back to December 31st, 1862, when enslaved people gathered in churches, waiting for midnight, waiting for January 1st, 1863, when the Emancipation Proclamation would take effect. They prayed, they sang, they watched and waited for freedom to come. So when we gather on December 31st at Mount Zion, we're not just celebrating a new year. We're honoring that legacy. We're remembering that our ancestors watched and prayed through their darkest night, believing that morning would come. We're declaring that no matter what we've been through, God is still faithful. We watch the old year out and the new year in with praise, prayer, testimony, and faith. My grandmother never missed a watch night service in 50 years. Never. And she always wore the same hat. A magnificent creation of deep purple silk with black velvet trim, adorned with a single peacock feather that curved gracefully along the side. It wasn't flashy. It was elegant, dignified, the kind of hat that made you sit up straighter just looking at it, the kind of hat that commanded respect. She wore that hat through celebrations and sorrows, through economic downturns and family crises, through deaths and births and everything in between. That hat sat on her head every December 31st as she stood in the 3rd row, left side, directly in line with the pulpit, her spot for 5 decades. She'd stand there with her hands raised, tears streaming down her face, thanking God for bringing her through another year. When my grandmother passed away in 2015, she left specific instructions about that hat. She didn't leave it to the church museum, though they asked. She didn't donate it to any collection. She left it to me, her only granddaughter, with a note that said, "Wear this with honor. Remember where you come from. Stand firm in your faith. Let every woman who sees it know that we are daughters of the King." I cried when I first put that hat on. It felt like wearing her strength, her faith, her history. I wore it for the first time at Watch Night Service 2015, standing in her spot, 3rd row left side, continuing the legacy she'd started. I've worn it every Watch Night Service since. 7 years. 7 times watching the old year out and the new year in, with my grandmother's hat on my head and her prayers in my heart. My husband Marcus and I had been married for 12 years. We met at Mount Zion, of course. He was in the choir. I was on the usher board. We courted properly, under the watchful eyes of the church mothers. We had premarital counseling with Pastor Jenkins. We got married in the sanctuary with 400 people as witnesses. We built our marriage on faith, on service, on commitment to God and each other. Marcus was a good man. Everyone said so. He sang in the choir every Sunday. He volunteered with the youth ministry. He helped elderly members with home repairs. He was faithful in his tithes. He prayed with me every morning. He held my hand during service. He was the kind of husband other wives envied and other men admired. We couldn't have children. We tried for years. Went through tests and treatments and prayers and disappointments. Eventually, we accepted it. Made peace with it. Decided that we would pour our love into the young people at church, into our nieces and nephews, into each other. It hurt. But we leaned on our faith and on our church family, and we moved forward. Watch Night Service 2022 was approaching. December was always busy at Mount Zion, Christmas programs, food drives, end-of-year giving campaigns, but Watch Night was special. It was my favorite service of the entire year. The church would be packed, the praise would be powerful, the testimonies would be tearful and triumphant. We'd count down to midnight together, then explode in worship as the new year began. I'd been planning my outfit for weeks, a deep purple dress to complement my grandmother's hat, the pearls my mother gave me, my good black shoes. Everything had to be right. This was sacred tradition. But the week before Watch Night, things started feeling off. Small things. Marcus was distracted, distant. He'd check his phone constantly and angle it away when I got close. He'd volunteered to help decorate the church for Watch Night, which meant he was gone several evenings that week. When I offered to come help, he said they had enough volunteers. He'd come home late, shower immediately, and go to bed without much conversation. I told myself it was just holiday stress. Maybe work was overwhelming him. Maybe he was planning a surprise for me. Maybe I was being paranoid. Then came December 30th. I was at the church for a women's ministry meeting. As I was leaving, I passed by the sanctuary where the decorating committee was still working. I glanced in and saw Marcus on a ladder hanging gold and white fabric. And at the bottom of that ladder, steadying it, looking up at him with such tenderness in her eyes, was Simone Banks. Simone was relatively new to Mount Zion. She'd been attending for maybe 8 months. Pretty woman, late 20s, always dressed nicely, always friendly. She'd joined the choir a few months back, which is how she and Marcus would have interacted regularly. I'd spoken to her a few times. She seemed sweet. A little too sweet, actually, now that I thought about it. The way she'd compliment me a bit too much. Ask questions about my marriage a bit too specifically. Laugh a bit too hard at things that weren't that funny. I watched them for a moment. The way she looked at him. The way he smiled down at her. The way her hand rested on the ladder just a bit too long. The way he didn't seem bothered by it. Something in my spirit shifted. That quiet knowing. That check in your gut that something isn't right. I went home without saying anything. Marcus came home 2 hours later. I asked how the decorating went. He said fine. He showered and went to bed. I lay awake, praying, asking God to show me truth. December 31st arrived, Watch Night service. I spent the day cooking, preparing black-eyed peas and collard greens and cornbread, the traditional foods we'd eat after the service to ensure good luck and prosperity in the new year. I cleaned the house, I prepared my outfit, I said my prayers. Around 5 in the evening, I went to get my grandmother's hat from the special box where I kept it. I opened the box, and it was empty. My heart stopped. I dumped the box out. Nothing. I checked under the bed, thinking maybe it had fallen. Nothing. I checked my closet. My grandmother's hat was gone. I felt panic rising. This wasn't just any hat. This was my heritage, my legacy, my connection to the woman who raised me in faith. Where was it? I called Marcus. He was already at church, he said, helping with final preparations. I told him the hat was missing. He said maybe I'd moved it and forgotten. I said I never moved it. It lived in that box. He said to keep looking. Maybe I'd find it. But he had to go. They needed him. I tore the house apart, every closet, every drawer, every shelf. Nothing. My hands were shaking as I got dressed. I put on my purple dress, my pearls, my shoes. But without my grandmother's hat, I felt incomplete. Exposed. Like I was going to service without armor. I arrived at Mount Zion around 9 p.m. The service started at 10 and would go until after midnight. The parking lot was already filling up. People were arriving in their finest clothes, ready to praise. The church was decorated beautifully, gold and white everywhere, candles lit, the sanctuary glowing. I walked in, still feeling that absence on my head, still feeling that strange unease in my spirit. I made my way toward my seat, third row, left side, my grandmother's spot, my spot, where I'd sat for every watch night service for 7 years, but someone was already sitting there, not just sitting, standing. Because the praise team was already warming up and people were on their feet, swaying, hands raised. I moved closer, and I saw her, Simone Banks, standing in my spot, next to my husband, wearing my grandmother's hat, not a similar hat, my hat. The purple silk with black velvet trim, the peacock feather curving along the side, my grandmother's hat on another woman's head in my spot next to my husband. Time stopped. The music faded. The room tilted. I stood there in the aisle, frozen, staring. Simone had her eyes closed, hands raised, lost in praise. Marcus was next to her, not touching her but close, so close, too close. My grandmother's hat, my spot, my husband. Mother Patricia Hughes, one of the oldest mothers of our church, touched my arm. I turned to look at her. Her face was full of compassion and something else, confirmation. She knew, she'd known. "Come sit with me, baby," she whispered, gently guiding me to her pew, 2 rows back. I sat, but I couldn't stop staring. At the hat, at Simone, at Marcus. The service began. Pastor Jenkins took the pulpit. The choir sang, people testified, but I heard nothing. I was underwater, drowning. How did Simone get my hat? When did she get it? Why was Marcus letting her wear it? Why was she in my spot? Why were they standing together like that? Questions whirled through my mind, but I already knew the answers. Deep down, in that place where the Holy Spirit speaks truth, I already knew. As the service continued, I watched them. The way Marcus would lean slightly toward her when the choir sang. The way Simone would glance at him during prayers. The way they seemed to exist in their own bubble, aware of each other in a way that married people are aware of each other. Around 11:30, Pastor Jenkins called for testimony time. People stood to share what God had done for them in the past year, thanking Him for blessings, praising Him through struggles, declaring His faithfulness. And then Simone stood. She walked to the microphone, my grandmother's hat still perfectly placed on her head, and began to speak. "I want to thank God for bringing me to Mount Zion this year," she said, her voice soft but clear. "When I came here, I was broken. I was alone. I didn't know where my life was going. But this church family welcomed me, loved me, made me feel at home. People said amen. Hallelujah," encouraging her to continue. "And I especially want to thank Brother Marcus Williams for his kindness," she continued, "for taking time to pray with me, for encouraging me in my faith, for helping me find my place here at Mount Zion." She looked directly at him as she said his name, and he looked back at her with such tenderness, such intimacy, that there was no mistaking what I was seeing. "Brother Marcus even gave me this hat," Simone continued, touching the brim gently. "It belonged to his wife's grandmother. He said she'd want someone to wear it who would appreciate its significance, who would honor the legacy. I'm wearing it tonight as a symbol of the blessing it is to be part of this church family." The sanctuary erupted in praise. People shouted, clapped, celebrated what they thought was a beautiful gesture of generosity and welcome. But I wasn't shouting. I was watching my husband's face, and I saw it. The flash of panic, the quick glance toward where I usually sat, realizing I wasn't there. The moment he understood what had just happened. He'd given my grandmother's hat to another woman, and she'd just announced it to the entire church. Mother Patricia squeezed my hand. "You gonna be all right, baby," she whispered. "God sees everything, and He's about to handle everything." I wanted to stand up. I wanted to scream. I wanted to walk up there, snatch my grandmother's hat off that woman's head, and demand answers. But something held me back. Maybe the Holy Spirit. Maybe my grandmother's legacy teaching me dignity. Maybe just shock. I sat there as the service continued, as midnight approached, as people prepared to shout the new year in, At 11:59, we all stood. The countdown began. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Happy New Year! The sanctuary exploded. People were shouting, crying, hugging, dancing. The band was playing. The choir was singing. It was chaos and celebration and joy. But I just stood there, tears streaming down my face, watching my husband embrace Simone Banks, still wearing my grandmother's hat, in my spot, in my church, as if everything was normal. Mother Patricia pulled me out of the pew. "Come with me, sugar. Right now." She led me out of the sanctuary, through the hallway, to Pastor Jenkins' office. She knocked firmly, then opened the door without waiting for an answer. Pastor Jenkins was inside with Deacon Morrison and 2 other church elders, preparing to greet people as they left the sanctuary. "Pastor," Mother Patricia said, her voice carrying an authority that made everyone stop. "We have a situation that needs to be addressed. Right now. Tonight." Pastor Jenkins looked at my face and seemed to understand immediately that something serious had happened. "What's going on, Mother Patricia?" "The young woman who just gave testimony, Simone Banks, is wearing Sister Diane's grandmother's hat. The hat Mother Evelyn wore for 40 years. The hat she specifically left to Sister Diane, and that girl just announced that Brother Marcus gave it to her." The room went silent. "And that's not all," Mother Patricia continued. "Sister Diane's husband, Brother Marcus, who was supposed to be standing next to his wife tonight, was standing next to Sister Simone. In Sister Diane's spot. The spot Mother Evelyn held for 50 years. The spot Sister Diane has held for 7 years. Something is very wrong here, Pastor, and it needs to be addressed." Pastor Jenkins looked at me. "Sister Diane, is this true?" I nodded, not trusting my voice. "Where is Brother Marcus now?" Pastor Jenkins asked. "In the sanctuary, with her," I managed to say. "Deacon Morrison, please go get Brother Marcus and Sister Simone. Bring them here." "Now," Pastor Jenkins instructed. Deacon Morrison left. The rest of us waited in heavy silence. 5 minutes later, Deacon Morrison returned with Marcus and Simone. Marcus looked nervous. Simone looked confused. "Close the door," Pastor Jenkins said. "Everyone sit down." We sat. Marcus and Simone on one side, me, Mother Patricia, and the other elders on the other side, Pastor Jenkins behind his desk. "Brother Marcus," Pastor Jenkins began, his tone grave, "is it true that you gave Sister Simone the hat she's currently wearing?" Marcus swallowed hard. "Yes, sir. And are you aware that this hat belonged to Mother Evelyn Carter? That it was specifically left to your wife? That it has significant spiritual and family meaning?" "Yes, sir." "Then why in God's name would you give it to someone else?" Pastor Jenkins' voice was rising now. "That wasn't yours to give, Brother Marcus. That was your wife's inheritance, her grandmother's legacy." Marcus looked at the floor. I just wanted Simone to feel welcome, to feel like part of the family." "Part of the family?" Mother Patricia's voice cut through the room like a knife. "Boy, you've lost your mind. Sister Simone is not family. Sister Diane is your family, your wife, the woman you made vows to in this very church. And you took her grandmother's hat, the one she wears every watch night service, and gave it to another woman? What kind of sense does that make?" Simone spoke up, her voice small. "I didn't know. I mean, Marcus told me it was his grandmother-in-law's hat, but he said his wife wanted someone else to enjoy it. He said she had too many hats, and this one wasn't being used." "That's a lie," I said, finding my voice finally. "I wear that hat every watch night service. I've worn it every year since my grandmother died. It lives in a special box in my bedroom, and it was there this morning. Which means Marcus took it out of my house without my knowledge and gave it to you." Marcus's face confirmed the truth. He'd taken it, deliberately, while I was cooking and preparing for service. He'd taken my grandmother's hat and given it to another woman. "Brother Marcus," Pastor Jenkins said, his voice cold now, "I'm going to ask you a direct question, and I need a direct answer. Are you having an inappropriate relationship with Sister Simone?" The silence stretched. Then Marcus whispered, "Yes, sir." The room erupted. Mother Patricia gasped. The elders started talking over each other. Simone started crying, and I just sat there, numb, hearing the confirmation of what I'd already known but hadn't wanted to believe. "How long?" Pastor Jenkins demanded. 6 months, Marcus said quietly. 6 months. Half a year. While I slept next to him, while I prayed with him, while I trusted him, while I believed in us. "And you," Pastor Jenkins turned to Simone. "Did you know Brother Marcus was married?" She nodded, tears streaming down her face. "Yes, but he said the marriage was over. He said they were just staying together for appearances. He said he was going to leave." "And you believed him?" Mother Patricia asked incredulously. "You saw Sister Diane at church every Sunday. You saw them together. You saw them serving together. You saw them hold hands during service. And you believed they were separated?" Simone didn't answer. She just cried. I stood up. All eyes turned to me. And for the first time that night, I spoke with my full voice. Not broken, not defeated, strong. "I want my grandmother's hat back. Right now." Simone reached up with shaking hands, removed the hat, and held it out to me. I took it, cradling it against my chest like a child. "And I want you both out of my sight. Both of you. I can't even look at you right now." "Diane, please," Marcus started, standing. "Don't," I cut him off. "Don't you dare say my name right now. Don't you dare try to explain. You took my grandmother's hat. You gave it to your mistress. You let her wear it. You let her stand in my spot. You let her thank you publicly while I was sitting in this church watching it happen. There is nothing you can say right now that I want to hear." I turned to Pastor Jenkins. "I'm going home. I'm going to finish cooking my black-eyed peas and collard greens. I'm going to eat my New Year's meal. And tomorrow, I'm going to call a lawyer. But tonight, I'm going home with my dignity and my grandmother's hat." Pastor Jenkins nodded. "That's wise, Sister Diane. And I want you to know that this church stands with you. This situation will be addressed. Brother Marcus will be removed from all leadership positions effective immediately. Sister Simone will be asked to find another church home, and we will provide you with whatever support and counseling you need." "Thank you, Pastor." I looked at Mother Patricia. "Will you drive me home?" "Of course, baby, let's go." As we walked out of that office, I felt something shift inside me. Yes, I was hurt. Yes, I was betrayed. Yes, my marriage was over. But I wasn't destroyed. Because I was still standing. I still had my faith. I still had my church family. I still had my grandmother's hat and everything it represented. Strength, dignity, faith, legacy. Mother Patricia drove me home in silence. When we pulled up to my house, she said, "You handled that with more grace than I would have, baby. Your grandmother would be proud." "I learned from the best," I said. "Grandma Evelyn always said, never let anyone make you lose your dignity. No matter what they do, you keep yours." Amen to that. You call me if you need anything, anytime, day or night. I went inside my house, changed out of my purple dress, and put on comfortable clothes. I went to the kitchen and finished preparing my New Year's meal. Black-eyed peas for luck, collard greens for prosperity, cornbread for richness, all the traditional foods. I set the table for one. I blessed my food, and I ate my New Year's meal alone with my grandmother's hat sitting on the table beside me. As I ate, I cried. I let it out, the pain, the betrayal, the humiliation, the loss of what I thought my marriage was. I cried for the future I'd imagined that would never happen now. I cried for the trust that was broken. I cried for having to start over at 38 years old. But I also prayed. I thanked God for revealing the truth, for protecting me from living a lie any longer, for giving me the strength to handle this revelation with dignity, for surrounding me with church mothers who saw what I couldn't see and supported me when I needed it most. I thanked God for my grandmother's legacy, for teaching me what strength looks like, for showing me that grace doesn't mean being weak. It means being strong enough to walk away from what doesn't serve you. And I thanked God for that hat, because in a strange way, that hat had revealed everything. If Marcus hadn't given it away, I might have gone months or years more without knowing. But his arrogance, his disrespect, his assumption that he could take something so precious and give it to another woman, that's what exposed him. God has a way of using our enemy's pride to bring truth to light. The next few months were difficult. The divorce process was painful. Marcus tried to reconcile, but I was done. Some betrayals are too deep. Some disrespect is too profound. Taking my grandmother's hat and giving it to his mistress, letting her wear it in public, letting her stand in my spot, that wasn't just unfaithfulness. That was an attack on my legacy, my family, everything I held sacred. The church community was incredible. They surrounded me with love and support. They checked on me constantly. They brought meals. They prayed with me. They reminded me that I was valued, that I was loved, that this situation didn't define me. Simone left Mount Zion, as requested. Marcus stopped attending too, eventually. The shame was too much. He couldn't face the community he'd disappointed. But I stayed, because Mount Zion was mine before it was his. My grandmother founded it. My mother served there. I was raised there. I wasn't going to let someone else's sin drive me from my spiritual home. Watch Night Service 2023 arrived. I wore my grandmother's hat again. I stood in my spot, third row left side. And I watched the old year out and the new year in, surrounded by people who loved me, wearing my grandmother's legacy stronger than I'd ever been. That hat means even more to me now. It's not just a symbol of faith and family legacy. It's a symbol of survival, of strength, of refusing to let betrayal steal your dignity. Sometimes God allows us to be betrayed so we can discover strength we didn't know we had. Sometimes He allows our most precious things to be attacked so we can see who really values us and who was just using us. Sometimes He allows relationships to end so better chapters can begin. I'm not going to lie and say I'm completely healed. Betrayal leaves scars. But I'm healing. I'm growing. I'm rediscovering who Diane Carter Williams is outside of being Marcus's wife. And I'm discovering that I like her. She's strong. She's faithful. She's resilient. She's a woman of dignity and grace. And she wears one magnificent purple hat with a peacock feather every watch night service, standing in her spot, honoring the legacy of the woman who taught her that we are daughters of the King. Today, I mentor young women in the church. I teach them about red flags in relationships, about the importance of guarding their legacy, about not ignoring that check in their spirit when something feels off, about the difference between grace and doormat behavior. I tell them about my grandmother's hat, about how it was taken and disrespected, but ultimately revealed the truth I needed to see, about how God used something precious to me to expose something poisonous in my life. I tell them that if someone will disrespect what's sacred to you, they don't respect you. And you should never stay with someone who doesn't respect you, no matter how long you've been together, no matter what vows were made, no matter what the church might say. Because God values you too much to let you stay in situations that diminish you. I tell them that Watch Night Service isn't just about watching the old year out and the new year in. It's about watching God work, watching Him expose what needs to be exposed, watching Him protect what needs to be protected, watching Him bring us through valleys into new seasons. Our ancestors watched through the night, believing freedom would come with morning. And it did. I watched through my night of betrayal, believing God would bring me through. And He did. The hat sits in its special box again, safe, honored, valued. I take it out every December 31st. I place it on my head with reverence and gratitude, and I stand in my spot, third row left side, and I watch. I watch God be faithful. I watch blessings come. I watch healing happen. I watch strength multiply. Because that's what we do. We watch. We wait. We believe. And we overcome. If you're going through betrayal right now, especially betrayal that involves your faith community, I want you to hear this. You will survive this. God sees what was done to you. He knows the depth of your pain. He understands the layers of betrayal when someone attacks not just your relationship, but your legacy, your sacred things, your place in community, and He will bring you through. Not around the pain, through it. He'll walk with you through the valley. He'll hold you when you can't stand. He'll carry you when you can't walk. And He'll bring you out on the other side stronger, wiser, more beautiful than before. Don't let betrayal steal your dignity. Don't let unfaithfulness steal your faith. Don't let someone else's sin make you doubt your worth. You are a daughter of the King. You come from strong women who watched through dark nights believing morning would come. You carry a legacy of faith and resilience. You are more than what was done to you. Stand in your spot, wear your hat, hold your head high, and watch God work, because He's not done with your story yet. This chapter is painful, but it's not the final chapter. Better is coming, healing is coming, restoration is coming, joy is coming. So watch, wait, believe, and most importantly, stand firm. Because you, my sister, are still here, still standing, still faithful, still worthy. And that hat, that legacy, that strength your grandmother passed down, it's yours. Nobody can take it. Nobody can diminish it. Nobody can wear it but you. So wear it with honor. Stand in your spot with confidence. And watch God turn your pain into purpose, your betrayal into blessing, your darkest night into your brightest morning. He did it for our ancestors. He did it for me, and He'll do it for you. Watch and see. If this story spoke to your spirit, if you've experienced betrayal in your faith community, if you're standing in the middle of your hardest night wondering if morning will ever come, I need you to do something for me right now. Hit that like button, not just for this video, but as a declaration that you refuse to let betrayal define you, that you refuse to give up, that you're choosing to stand firm in your faith and your dignity, no matter what anyone has done to you. And then go down to the comments and share your story. You don't have to share all the details, but share something. Tell us what sacred thing was attacked in your situation. Tell us how God brought you through. Tell us what you learned. Tell us where you are in your healing journey. Because when we share our stories, we break the power of shame. When we speak our truth, we give permission for other women to speak theirs. When we watch together, we make it through the night together. And finally, subscribe to this channel, because we're building something here. We're building a community of Black women of faith who refuse to pretend everything is perfect, who tell the truth about betrayal and pain and struggle, who hold each other up when the weight gets too heavy, who watch together, pray together, heal together, and overcome together. Every week, we're sharing stories of faith, resilience, and truth in the Black church. Real stories, hard stories. Stories that end in victory not because everything works out perfectly, but because we choose to keep standing no matter what. So subscribe, turn on notifications, and come back next week for another story that's going to encourage you, strengthen you, and remind you that you're not alone. God bless you, my sister. Keep standing, keep watching, keep believing. Your morning is coming.